Let's welcome in President and co-founder of Based Politics, Hannah Cox, along with honorary chairman for the Tea Party Patriots Action, Beth Martin. Ladies, good afternoon. Hannah, I'm going to go to you first. What are the odds that the government will be shutting down at midnight tomorrow night?
I think the odds are pretty high. The Democrats have a number of demands that they're going to stand by. The energy in the country right now is for the Democrats. I'm one of many independents who is fed up with what's happening under the Trump administration. I think it's been completely inexcusable, the behavior we've been seeing over the past couple of weeks, and I think it's time that we have some guardrails put in place. I think there are increasing demands for Kristi Noem to step down. I'll be interested to see if that goes anywhere. I don't know exactly where they're going to set the line, but I think Republicans are going to have to play ball if they want to keep the government open, and they should want to keep the government open because we need to see some things start to move. Trump really desperately needs to do something about the economy. There has to be some breathing room. Everybody around me is starting to worry about their jobs. You've got AI encroaching. We need Congress and business to start dealing with these really pressing issues that the American people actually care about versus all of these shenanigans. So a government shutdown won't play well for them, but they are certainly going to have to make some compromises if they want to keep the thing moving, and we'll see what happens.
Beth, what are you hearing? Are you hearing that Republicans are willing to compromise over DHS funding and ICE protocols?
Well, the House is not in session. They're not coming back before tomorrow. So if the government is going to be funded, it has to be funded with what the House has already passed. I think what is most likely to happen is that appropriation bills will pass, except for the funding for the Department of Homeland Security. It is, the Democrats are saying they want guardrails on ICE, but what they're not paying attention to is that ICE has already been funded through what already happened with the One Big Beautiful Bill. That it is already funded, and there's also funding available for FEMA right now. So where it's going to hurt people the most is going to wind up being with TSA and airports, if they go down this route and they only wind up shutting down the Department of Homeland Security. We'll see what happens. The president alluded to the possibility of a deal. If that happens, we might have a very short shutdown that lasts throughout the weekend, and then something happens next week. We'll just have to see how that plays out.
Hannah, is it good politics for Democrats to shut the government down? The last time Chuck Schumer pulled this move, it was over Obamacare subsidies, and they didn't get those. That was unsuccessful. The large majority of the public blamed Democrats for the shutdown and travel delays, et cetera, that came from the lack of funding. And now, just like Beth said, if we go into another government shutdown, it's TSA that is going to be the most impacted.
Yeah, I will say the last government shutdown was the first one in my lifetime that people actually seemed to miss the government and notice that it was impacting their day-to-day lives, and that's simply because it went on for so long. I think Democrats lost that round because they staked the shutdown on something that the vast majority of people don't care about, which is Obamacare subsidies. Most people aren't getting those, and the vast majority of Americans who are working hard to float those subsidies wanted to see them actually get something in this exchange. So I don't think that they had the wedge issue they thought they had there. I don't know if it's different this time around. The energy certainly seems different online and just kind of taking the temperature of people you speak with. I think people are really upset about what's been happening in our streets in this country, and really, especially on the president's comments on the Second Amendment. And I think that there's a huge coalition of people that want to see this stop and want to see law and order actually restored on our streets, want to see law enforcement have accountability, and again, want the presidential administration to start focusing on the things that they got elected to focus on, which is the economy, and they have been completely sidetracked on that. So I don't know who would, win. I think it depends on how they message it, but I think right now it feels like the energy is on the issues that the Democrats are going to be using to argue in this negotiation.
Hannah, I do agree with you. President Trump did get elected on the economy. That was the number 1 or 2 issue, but also the number 1 or 2 issue, depending on which poll you looked at, was immigration enforcement, which is arguably what he is doing. Beth, in terms of focusing on affordability and the economy, the president has been trying to do that this week. He had a stop in Iowa on Monday where he talked up his economic agenda. You had the Trump accounts launch yesterday. That was included in the big, beautiful bill. And today you had a cabinet meeting when he was also talking about the affordability issues. Do you think that he has done enough policy-wise for the American populace to start feeling it in their pocketbooks? Because when they go to vote, usually it's pocketbook issues that drive them.
Yeah, I want to just say one more thing. People voted for a secure border, and Lakin Riley, her first grade teacher was my kid's first grade teacher the year before my kids were in first grade. She grew up around here in Georgia, and we wanted to make sure that the people who would commit heinous crimes like killing and raping young women and children are deported and no longer in this country. And what we're seeing in Minneapolis right now is happening because the mayor and the governor are not cooperating with federal law enforcement. In the places where they are cooperating, like in Louisiana, we are not having riots on the street. And so the problem, we can certainly, the ICE needs to look in the mirror and make sure they are handling everything properly. But the left does as well. And I just feel like it's very important to remember that, and to remember that this is happening because young women and children were raped and killed in our country by illegal immigrants, and Trump is trying to stop that. As far as the economy goes, it is improving. President Trump talked a lot about that during the cabinet meeting. Gas prices are down. Grocery prices have stabilized. People are going to have the largest tax cut in American history. They prevented the largest tax increase in American history. You mentioned the Trump accounts. Interest rates have come down a little bit. I think we will see more improvement of that as the year goes on. And when that happens, I think it's going to free up the economy even further so that by the time we hit July and August, we're going to see tremendous improvement in the economy.
Well, we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. Hannah Cox, Jenny Beth Martin, thank you both for stopping by. We appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.